ورسوله وصفيه من خلقه وخليله بلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وكشف الله به الأمة وجاهد في سبيل الله حق جهاده حتى أتاه اليقين وأصلي وأسلم عليه وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وعلى تابعيهم ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. عباد الله، أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله العظيم وطاعته وأحذركم من معصيته ومخالفة أمره ونهيه. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون. Praise be to Allah, we praise Him, we seek His guidance and forgiveness. Whomever Allah guides, none can misguide, and whoever is left without guidance, none can guide besides Allah. We bear witness that there is no one worth worshipping but Allah, and we bear witness that Muhammad is His last prophet and messenger. Prayers and peace of Allah be upon him, upon his companions, upon his followers, and their followers till the day of judgment. Ameen. Servants of Allah, have the taqwa of Allah, that is, have the balance between the love of Allah, the respect of Allah, and the fear of the punishment of the hereafter. Have the taqwa of Allah and do not die except of the state of Islam, the state of submission to the will and the orders of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, amma ba'd. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave a clear command to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in the Quran when He said, فَقْصُصِ الْقَصَصَ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. O Muhammad, narrate the stories so people might contemplate, so people might think about the things that they have done in their lives. They can learn from the incidents that they relate to in these stories. Each one of the stories of the Quran has a purpose behind it. You would not think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would waste 1/3 of the Quran just to talk about incidents for entertainment. 1/3 of the Quran is made out of stories, and if you read these stories, you will find that many times, many of these details are left out. Why? Because there is no benefit in them. If it's mentioned in the Quran, then there is a benefit in that event, and there is a benefit in that detail, there is a benefit in that incident. And our job is when we read these stories to learn from them, especially when it comes to the stories of the prophets. Each one of the prophets that have a story in the Quran is a role model for us. It teaches us to deal with certain situations. For example, when you read the story of Prophet Ayyub alayhi salam, you will learn from that story how to handle tough situations, how to handle sickness or diseases, or if you're hit with calamities, how to be patient yet a good servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you read the story of Prophet Sulaiman, you learn from that story that you can be wealthy and rich yet a good servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When you read the story of Prophet Nuh alayhi salam, you learn how to persevere when you're assigned a task or a mission to do. When you read the story of Prophet Musa alayhi salam, you learn from it how to stand up against tyranny and injustice and speak out the truth. And so on and so forth. One of these stories, all of us heard it, all of us know it, all of us learned it, is the story of Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam. The story of Prophet Yusuf is mentioned in one surah in the Quran. And all of us read it, all of us enjoy listening to it in Ramadan. And many of us get emotional when we are listening to the incidents and the events that are happening about the life of Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam. But amazingly, this story has a lot of lessons for us, especially when it comes in the family relationships and the society relationships. What I'd like to do today is go through some of these lessons that we learn from the story of Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam. Not to narrate the story because all of you know the story, but to talk about the incident, the lessons that we learn from these incidents, and how we can apply it in our daily lives, inshallah. There are so many lessons we can learn when it comes to our family relationships. For example, the beginning of the surah is a good lesson for our youth and our children. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِذْ قَالَ يُوسُفُ لِأَبِيهِ يَا أَبَتِ إِنِّي رَأَيْتُ أَحَدَ عَشَرَ كَوْكَبًا وَالشَّمْسَ وَالْقَمَرَ رَأَيْتُهُمْ لِي سَاجِدِينَ. He says, oh my father. So Yusuf alayhi salam is having a dream that's bothering him. This dream is becoming quite often seen by him. So he's bothered by it. He's confused. He's puzzled. What is this all about? So where does he go talk to? To his father. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling our children and our youth, if you have something that's bothering you, one of the best people that you can consult with is your father. One of the best people you can go and talk to is your mother, your parents. These are the people who love you more than anyone else. These are the people who care for you more than anybody else. It is so sad nowadays to see youth and teenagers, they are willing to talk to everybody and consult anybody and not consult their parents. You find high schoolers going to college or deciding to buy a new car. They will never go sit down with their father and say, Father, which car should I get? Or which college should I apply to? It is sad to say, it's a reality. Because now teenagers or youth are rebellious, are trying to say, you know what, I'm independent from my parents. That's how I prove my manhood or my ladyhood. My advice, or the lesson that we learn from this incident, from this part of the story, if something is bothering you in life, go and talk to your parents. You don't have to do everything they tell you if you're an adult. But at least get the counsels from them. They love you, they care for you more than all your friends put together. So that's a lesson that we learn from that story. Now on the other hand, what did Prophet Yaqub do? When his son came to him and talked to him, he gave him an advice. He listened to him. He did not tell him, don't waste my time, go play with your brothers. He didn't tell him, don't waste my time, go do your homework. He sat down with him and he paid attention and he listened to what his son is bothering him. I deal with the youth on a regular basis and I meet with youth all the time. One of the biggest complaints that youth tell me all the time is what? My parents don't have time for me. When I talk to my father, he's busy on the phone. When I talk to my mother, she's busy on the social media. When I talk to them, either they get angry quickly or they don't have time for me. Please, for God's sake, if your son or your daughter come and talk to you, and they tell you something is bothering you, or something that happened that I want to discuss with you, turn off your phone. Turn off the stove. Turn off the TV. Put the magazine or the newspaper on the side. And look them in the eye and sit on their level and say, yes, my son, yes, my daughter, what can I do for you? And if they come to you to tell you about something wrong that they did, please do not get angry. Do not get mad. Because if you do, that will be the last time they come and tell you about something that they did wrong. If your daughter comes and tells you, I did this and I don't like it and I regret it and I think it was wrong, calm down. They just came and talked to you. Calm down. That's good. See how you can solve it together. If your son or your daughter come to you and they tell you about an invention or an idea or something that they think they're creative about, do not tell them, don't waste my time and your time, go do your homework. If many times our kids will come and say, Daddy, look, I drew a spaceship. Don't tell him, don't waste my time. He might be an inventor. He might be someone who can invent something for the future. Don't kill that talent right there and then. Your daughter comes and tells you, I wrote a poem. Tell her, okay, let's see how we can fix it and make it better. Rather than tell her, oh, this is nonsense. Go do your math homework. Spend some time with them on their talents. If something is bothering them at school, you know there's a lot of bullying happening nowadays at school. Especially for Muslim kids. And bullying is one of the problems that kids do not talk to their parents about. You have to be open, that they feel comfortable to tell you that this is happening to me at school. So this is the second lesson that we learn from this story, that it's important that parents and children should have communication. Children should go and talk to their parents, and parents should be listening to their children. A third lesson. A third lesson. You notice from the story that the brothers of Prophet Yusuf ﷺ were so upset and so jealous from him to the point that they plotted to get rid of him. This is a reality. Jealousy between siblings is not a joke. If you are you're treating one of your children in a favorite way compared to the other, then you are creating jealousy between your children. You're creating bad feelings between them. And that is completely unacceptable. That should not be the case. A man came to the Prophet ﷺ and he told him, O Prophet of Allah, be my witness, I have this land, I want to give it as a gift to my son. The Prophet ﷺ said, do you have other children, other sons? He said, yes. He said, are you giving each one of them the same gift? He said, no. He said, that's false. I'm not going to witness it. That's evil. La ashhadu ala zur. And then he stood up on the minbar and he said, Ya ma'shar al-aba, O parents, have the taqwa of Allah and be fair with your children. Do not favor one over the other. You might not see the problems of it right now, but later on in life, they might not be talking to each other because of something that was built up in their hearts when they were kids. Don't mistreat a child. Don't favor a child because he's an A student over a child who's a C student. Or a boy over a girl. One of the biggest complaints girls have, that their parents treat their brothers better than them. That their parents allow their brothers to do everything and the girl's not allowed to do that. I know fathers who brag about things that their sons do, but if the daughter does the same thing, he'll get very upset. This is cultural. عادات وتقاليد has nothing to do with Islam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, من عمل فاحشة من ذكر أو أنثى. Male or female are equal in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do not create that kind of favoritism that will create problems and hatred in their hearts towards each other or to the faith that we belong. So that was the third lesson. Be equal and fair in the way you treat your children, so you do not create hatred or fights between them. Number 4. There is a concept in Islam called Silatul Rahim, which means that you have to treat your relatives, that you have to treat your cousins, brothers, uncles, aunts, grandparents, parents, children, siblings, everyone in the best way possible, and to stay in touch with them. That's called Silatul Rahim. And we as Muslims are required to treat our relatives in the best way, even if they treat us in a bad way. A man came to the Prophet ﷺ and he said, "O Prophet of Allah, I have some relatives. They mistreat me. They do not talk to me. They do not visit me. They do not give me gifts. They do not do anything good to me. Every time I talk to them, they treat me in a bad way. Do I still have to keep Salat al-Rahim? Do I still have to stay in touch with them and treat them in a nice way, even the way they treat me?" The Prophet ﷺ gave him the principle. He said, لَيْسَ الْوَاصِلُ بِالْمُكَافِرِ. The one who's doing Salat al-Rahim is not the one who's rewarding his relatives just because they're good to him, he's being good to them. That's fairness. But the true essence and the true meaning of Salat al-Rahim is when your relatives are mistreating you, you treat them in a good way. That's what the Prophet ﷺ told him. Look at the brothers of Yusuf, what they did. They threw him in the well. They plotted to get rid of him. They lied to the father. They took him. Imagine yourself, 11, 12-year-old kid taken by your 10 brothers, your own brothers, taken to the wilderness and being pushed and ridiculed and mocked and threatened, and then taken off his shirt, taking it away from him, leaving him without a shirt, thrown him in the well, dark, cold, scary spot. And because of that, he became a slave. And he went through a lot as a slave. And because of that, he went to prison for 7 to 10 years and went through a lot because of prison. So someone like him should have so much hatred towards his brothers. He wants to take revenge from them. Yet at the end, when they came and told him, قَالُوا تَاللَّهِ قَدْ آثَرَكَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْنَا. Indeed, Allah made you better than us. We apologize. We're sorry. What did he do? قَالَ لَا تَثْرِيبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الْيَوْمَ. I forgive you. I'm not going to blame you for what you've done. This is the true meaning of Salat al-Rahim. It's so sad to see a brother who did not talk to his brother because his wife 10 years ago said something bad about his wife. Or because his children do, or because of inheritance and money problems that happened in the past. Do not let these things happen. Ramadan is coming. You know, in the 15th night of Sha'ban, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as Prophet Muhammad told us, will look at all the servants, all humanity, and He will forgive except 2. He will forgive everybody except 2. Mushrik or mushahid. The person who is associating others with Allah, and a mushahid, someone who has a dispute with his brother or his relative or his friend. If you have any problems between you and your relatives, make sure you fix it today. Because tonight or tomorrow night is Laylatul Barakah. And you will be forgiven unless you still have a dispute that you're not willing to fix or to reconcile. Before I continue, please move forward. The next lesson that we learn from the story of Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam. When Prophet Yusuf's father, Prophet Yaqub, lost his son, he was so sad. He was devastated. It was so painful to him. When he lost his second son later on in the story, he cried so much to the point that he became blind. Blind. That tells us how much a father or a mother love their children. That tells us that the love of a parent is beyond any kind of love that you can have on earth. The love of a father or a mother towards their child is even more than the love they have towards their own selves. If you talk to any professional, doctor, engineer, you tell them, you know what, you're a good doctor, but there is a doctor down the street who's better than you. He will be jealous, regardless who that person is. He'll be upset, he'll be offended. But if you go to that person, you tell him your son is a better doctor than you, he'll be proud. He'll be happy. He'll be happier that his son is better than him. Why is that? Because he loves his son more than he loves himself. The same thing for the wife. The same thing for the daughter. If you tell your wife, for example, that your sister-in-law cooks better than you, you're dead. Don't try that. You'll sleep on the couch that night. But if you tell her your daughter is better than you, she'll be happy. She'll be proud. And that's exactly the amount of love that each father and mother have towards each other. Our children need to understand that. Their parents need to tell them that we love you. And the children need to know that the love that the parents have towards them is beyond explanation. The fact that they don't agree with you on everything that you do and they want you to do certain things, that's out of love, not out because of the dictators or they want to control you. Because they love you, they want the best for you. They might not understand you, they might drive you crazy, that's normal. But they love you. And because of that love, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا أُفٍّ. Do not disrespect them. Even by saying uff. Even by showing the slightest expression of disrespect, which is, "Oof, Mom, leave me alone, I don't want to do the dishes. Oh, Dad, leave me alone, I don't want to take the trash out." This disrespect is forbidden in Islam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that's not allowed. Sometimes a mother will bring a t-shirt for her daughter and the daughter says, "No, that's ugly, I'm not going to wear it." That's disrespectful. You sit down on the dinner table and the first thing you see after you take the first bite, "Ew, that's not good." Your mother just spent a few hours preparing it for you. Instead of saying, "Jazakallah khair, thank you, that's beautiful, may Allah reward you for your efforts," you say, "Ew." Your father takes a day off from his work so he can go out with you to the park or to the beach, and you're texting your friends, I'm bored, I cannot wait until the day's over." Feel with your parents. Respect them. And the examples in our history are so beautiful on the level of respect that we should have towards our parents. You know, Imam Shafi'i does something amazing. He said, "I never ate with my mother from the same plate." They asked him why. He said, "I was so worried that I would make her feel bad by eating the piece of food that she had her eye on. I was so concerned that I'm going to eat the piece of food that she wanted to eat it next." That's how much he was worried about her feelings. Now compare that nowadays when you put a pizza tray on the table and how kids jump on it to take the biggest slice. Or if it's the last slice, they jump on it. If you're a son or a daughter and you're sitting on a table and the last piece of food, wait. Ask your mother, "Mom, do you want it? Dad, do you want it?" They're going to tell you, "No, Habibi, take it." As if I ate it when you eat it. But at least show them some respect. And when they grow older, and when they become older in age, that's another lesson we learn from Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam. Prophet Yusuf, towards the end of the story, what happened? He became the highest authority in the land of Egypt. He became the Aziz of Egypt. What does that mean? The one who controls everything. He was sitting on his throne. When his parents walked in, what did happen? He did not allow them to sit on a lower level. وَرَفَعَ أَبَوَيْهِ عَلَى الْعَرْشِ. He elevated the chairs and the seats of his parents to be on the same level of his throne. Why? To show them respect. To tell them, "I'm not better than you." Now compare that nowadays. When we get a PhD or a bachelor degree or a doctorate degree, and we start talking to our parents as if they don't know anything. And we start treating them as we are better than them. We belittle their feelings, we belittle their thinking. I'm a big businessman, I'm very wealthy, mother, don't tell me what to do. And we forgot that they're the one who taught us how to read and write. They're the one who taught us how to walk. They're the ones who taught us how to go to the bathroom. Now, when we have money, we have degrees, we treat them in a bad way. You know, Imam Abu Hanifa, the greatest scholar of the Ummah, has a very nice story with his mother about this. One day, his mother had a question about Islam. Now, Abu Hanifa, people travel from all around the world to listen and learn from him. His mother had a question. She gave him the question, he gave her the answer. She told him, "I don't trust you, Abu Hanifa." Now imagine you're a big doctor, you're a big businessman, and your mother or your father ask you about your own specialty, and then they tell you, "I don't trust you." You'll go crazy, you'll go nuts. You'll say, "What? You don't trust me? With all my degrees and experience, you don't trust me?" Abu Hanifa understood the respect of the mother. And he said, "Oh mother, whom do you trust?" She said, "Sheikh so-and-so, who is much lower level than him." He said, "Let's go to his house." He knocked the door on the house. The man could not believe Abu Hanifa is visiting him. "What an honor. What can I do for you?" "My mother has a question." Why didn't she ask you? She did. She does not trust my answer. What is the question? He told him the question. He said, I don't know the answer. He told him the answer. And then he asked his mother to walk in. His mother walked in. He said, he told her exactly the same answer that Abu Hanifa told him. She looked at Abu Hanifa and she said, now I trust you. Did he say, I told you so? Did he say, you made me walk all the way here for no good reason? No. He smiled. He said, Alhamdulillah, let's go home. That's the respect that your parents, especially when they're older. You know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He said, وَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا أُفٍّ, what did He say before that? He said, إِمَّا يَبْلُغَنَّ عِنْدَكَ الْكِبَرَ. He specified that when your parents are old, be careful what you say. Be careful because when they're old, they might smell in a way you don't like. They might spill the food on the table. They might interfere in your own business and the way you raise up your children. They might say things that you don't like, but this is the true test. This is the test that you should be careful not to disrespect them. And believe me, you might regret it if you did not do good treatment for them. Look at the brother next to you or the sister next to you who's crying right now. Who would say, my mother is not in this world. My mother is not on this earth. I wish I can spend 5 more minutes with her. He would say, I'll pay anything to get a hug from my father. Do not wait too long because it might pass very fast. And you will regret the last word that you said to your father or your mother if you did not get to fix it afterwards. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us among those who are righteous and give the advice of life in their life. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسوله أفضل الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى تابعين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. My dear respected brothers and sisters, we started this book by talking about the lessons and the story from the story of Prophet Yusuf when it comes to family relationship. And I personally spent 6 weeks with my youth talking about the lessons we learned from the whole story. So it's impossible for me to cover them all in one khutbah. But I advise you that all go to that story. It's in one chapter in the Quran, one surah. Recite it and try to learn one of the things that you can learn from. Try to apply the things that you read in your own life. Try to conclude. Use your mind, use your brain, use your intellect to find out the things that you can learn from that story. I'll finish with one lesson maybe because it's important and relevant to what we are doing as a Muslim community in America. Prophet Yusuf was a minority. He was by himself in the land of Egypt to worship Allah. Everyone else used to worship the king. So he's a religious minority. He's the only Muslim, literally, in the whole land. So how did he feel about the people around him? Remember, the society did not treat him well. The society said bad things about him. The society imprisoned him. The authority made sure that he suffers in prison. And he let him stay there for 7 to 10 years. But when the society needed his help, when there was a problem that was going to affect the country or the society that he's living in, he did not say, you guys deserve it, you take it. He did not say, give me millions of dollars so I can help you. He did not say, get me out of prison so I can... No, immediately he was willing to help. He gave solutions. He was willing to be a positive influence and a positive contributor to the society. Even the society is not Muslim. Even the society mistreated him. And that's exactly what we're trying to tell to everyone, that we as American Muslim community, even though that sometimes people misunderstand us and misunderstand our faith, we still have to be positive contributors to the society. We still have to integrate in the society. Sociologists studied the situation of Muslims in America, and they said from a sociology point of view, they're divided into 3 groups. Those who are completely isolate themselves from the society. They do not like the society. They are in the masjid, in the Islamic school. They are only in their own groups. They are in a cocoon, in a shell. The problem that when their kids go out to college, they're confused. They don't know how to do with anything. And that's a horrible example. And then there's others. Those who completely melted in the society. They forgot about their values. They forgot about their faith. They forgot about who they are, what Islam is. They rarely come to the masjid. Many of them come to the masjid twice. They come to me twice. When their kids are 18 and they're on drugs and they want to leave the house. Or when their children bring them and they say, please pray on our father, he's Muslim. This also a wrong example. That's That's completely wrong. What we are looking for is what Prophet Yusuf did, positive integration. That we're part of the society, we're part of the community, but we do not lose our values. We do not compromise our faith. We do not compromise. And we are positively contributing to the society to make it a better place. So instead of saying, I'm going to be a doctor one day, say, I'm going to be a doctor who finds solution for leukemia. Instead of saying, I'm going to work with Caltrans as an engineer, say, I'm going to be a Caltrans so I can find a problem with the 5-freeway traffic. Instead of saying, I'm going to be a writer, say, I'm going to write on the first page of the local newspaper so I can benefit the society with my knowledge. One day I was watching a TV show on PBS, amazing invention that was created for the people who are deaf and mute. You put on their head, it helps them understand the people who are talking to them. After 45 minutes talking about this invention, they said, now we're going to meet the inventor. And what a pleasant surprise it was when I was listening to and seeing the inventor, a young woman wearing a hijab, talking eloquently and proudly of her invention. This is exactly what each one of us should be. At your MSAs, at your college, at your workplace, in your basketball team, everywhere you go, you should be a positively contributing member of any group that you are because you are Muslim, and that will learn from Prophet Yusuf. Don't ever look at the society and they say they're bad to us, we should be bad to them. That's un-Islamic. Don't ever look at the society, they don't care for us, I don't care for them. That's un-Islamic. This is what the Shura Council is doing throughout the days and the nights. If you don't know what the Shura Council is, the Islamic Shura Council of Southern California is the largest umbrella organization of Muslims in Southern California. We have 78 masjid. We represent 700,000 Muslims. We have so many projects and so many work that we do to make you look better in the media, to make you look better in the people who walk on the streets of Southern California. So we can reach out to elected officials, we can reach out to other faith groups, so we can build bridges, so we can make people understand the beautiful message of Islam. That is what the Shura Council is. To empower the leaders of the masajid so they can run the masajid in a better place. To exchange good practices between masajid so every masjid will benefit. The small masjid will benefit from the big masjid. The schools, the youth groups. This is the umbrella organization that each one of you should be part of and know about it. So my advice to each one of you, go to the website, subscribe to the newsletter. You'll receive it every Friday. It will tell you what's happening in San Diego, what's happening in Los Angeles, what's happening in Orange County, what's happening in this masjid, what's happening there. It will make you part of the larger community and become part of this beautiful body that's called the Muslim community of Southern California. As the chairman of this organization, I am extremely happy and proud to be with you today. And inshallah tonight, after Maghrib, between Isha and Maghrib, we will have another talk that we can talk more about things that relate to the community. We'll talk about why do we fast and how to receive Ramadan, and we'll also open it for questions and answer session, so you can ask anything you like about the Shura Council or the Muslim community of Southern California. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us among those who are hearing the advice and applying to their lives. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give speedy recovery for those who are sick and ill among us, those who passed away. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give them the highest levels of Jannah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to send His blessings and prayers on our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allahumma ighfir lil muslimina wal muslimat wal mu'minina wal mu'minat al ahya'i minhum wal amwat innaka ya rabbana sami'un qareebun mujibud da'awat. عباد الله إن الله قد أمركم بأمر بدأ به نفسه وثنى بملائكة القدس حيث قال إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت